The Manchurian government. That's the focus of tonight's angle. For months, we've warned you about the looming red menace, China, and how a Biden administration would strengthen the CCP's hand both here and abroad. Now, simply put, the angle told you that a win for Biden would be a big win for China. China isn't just looking to control our industries, but our cultural institutions as well. A vote for Biden is a vote to strengthen China's hand. Biden has basically always carried water for China and its buddies. Biden should change his slogan to build back better in Beijing. His whole career speaks to internationalism and exporting jobs to China. Now, while Biden has tried to position himself as someone who takes China seriously, the Chinese themselves sure don't see it that way, do they? It didn't take long for the CCP and its cronies to flood the media with all these hopeful stories of a healed U.S.-China relationship. Now, just yesterday, execs from GM, Caterpillar, Visa, and FedEx heard a very warm and cuddly message from Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Both sides should work together to remove all kinds of disruptions and obstacles and achieve a smooth transition in China-U.S. relations. We need to strive to restart a dialogue, return to the right track, and rebuild trust in this next phase of relations. Now, mind you, when he says right track, he means the track where China steals U.S. intellectual property and cheats on trade agreements. And we just sit back and let it all happen. And when he says restart dialogue, he means we tell you what we want and you're going to give it to us. That means an end to the Trump-era reciprocity requirements in business. And of course, it also means no more tariffs that help make our trade relationship fairer and gave U.S. exporters a fighting chance. In other words, China sees a Biden administration, oh, that's an opportunity to exploit. It turns out that Beijing has been working for years with key Biden allies on Wall Street to undermine an America First agenda. The Wall Street Journal reporting that in February 2018, Beijing's chief trade negotiator was in Washington to try to avert a trade war. He turned to a select group of American business execs, mostly from Wall Street. "We need your help," Vice Premier Liu, he told his guests gathered in a hotel near the White House. And who was there? Well, guess who? New York heavy hitters like BlackRock chief exec Larry Fink, David Solomon of Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan Chase's Jamie Dimon. Now, Goldman's financial ties to China date back to the 1990s and the early 2000s during the Hank Paulson very profitable tenure at the company. Now, of course, conveniently, Paulson later went on to be Obama's Treasury Secretary. Well, now Paulson's carefully cultivated relationship is blooming under the current CEO, David Solomon. The Chinese Communist Party, according to the Journal, dangled the prospect of more investment opportunities in China if Goldman and friends help navigate future trade deals with the Trump administration. Well, it looks like sucking up to China paid Goldman big dividends. The investment firm just confirmed that it will be the first global bank to get full ownership of its securities business in China. And what about JP Morgan Chase's CEO, Jamie Dimon? Well, ever since that meeting with that CCP official in 2018, he's been extremely bullish on China.
As an investor in China, you kind of slow down for 4 or 5 years until you see the lay of the land, or do you just go all in to get market share?
So we're all in,
Yep.
and so we're not slowing down.
We're all in. We're not slowing down. Not now. Well, I'm sure it's a total coincidence that China decided to give JP Morgan full control of a futures venture in which it had a minority stake. Huh. And lastly, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, let me just say this. I'm going to put it this way. If groveling before the Chinese Communist Party were an Olympic sport, Fink would be draped in gold. While in Beijing in November 2019, he told his Chi-Com masters that BlackRock should be a Chinese company in China. To his Chinese hosts, it was welcome contrast to the hostilities from Washington. Larry Fink wears his China ambition on his sleeve. The Chinese know it. Well, it should disturb you. that Biden's transition team is right now scooping up BlackRock senior employees. At a recent Bloomberg conference of irritating globalists, it was hard to tell the difference between what Fink and the CCP officials were saying.
That the market is in desire of more stability. They're looking for a voice that moderates, not a voice that incites. I truly believe President-elect Biden can be that voice of reason and is willing to work with the world on moving forward.
We should build an open world economy that works for all. We must firmly safeguard the multilateral trading system under the WTO and unequivocally reject unilateralism and protectionism.
Unfortunately, some forces are acting against the trend of the times and willfully walked away from international commitments, posing challenges to multilateralism.
Even the translators sound ominous. Well, when he said multilateralism there, well, what they all mean when they say that is Chinese dominance, economically and militarily. And to accomplish this, China isn't just targeting American business leaders, but also rising political stars. There's an explosive new report from Axios about a Chinese spy infiltrating the political campaigns of California Democrats in the Bay Area. One of those up-and-comers was top Russia hoaxer Congressman Eric Swalwell. Not only did this Chinese spy help bring in donors for Swalwell's campaign, but she also got an intern placed in his D.C. office. We're going to dig into this and Swalwell's utter hypocrisy in moments. But while Axios' article is extremely important, it just confirms what the angle has been telling you for years. China is our greatest international threat. It's not Russia, it's China. The fact that China has spent decades infiltrating almost every aspect of American society should be well known to you at this point. Our biggest corporations and even sports leagues kowtow to Beijing on a regular basis. And what else? We have media establishment completely compromised, regularly just reprinting CCP propaganda. And how can we forget California Senator Dianne Feinstein? I mean, she outdid Swalwell, if that's possible. She employed a Chinese spy on her staff for only 20 years, no biggie. The influence of the CCP in our free society is so widespread, it's so pernicious. We need Congress to step up and pass legislation barring any American who has profited directly from China from ever serving an elected office, period, no exceptions. But don't hold your breath waiting for that initiative to be announced.